What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to our first NFL draft video. I'm sorry I haven't been able to post any videos lately. I've had a lot of things going on happening in my life. I actually just got a new setup. I got a new computer set up. We've got a computer now, so the videos will hopefully be better quality. So I'm looking forward to this. But we had some crazy things that happened in the draft last night. So let's get right into it. So the first pick obviously was Caleb Williams going to the Chicago Bears. This was a no-brainer. They just got rid of Justin Fields. We knew this was going to happen coming in. They also picked up Rome Odunze in the ninth with the ninth pick in the first round. So Caleb Williams got a lot of weapons in Chicago. You got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and I think they got they did pick up DeAndre Swift from the Eagles. He was a free agent signing. And I know they're probably going to, in the next couple rounds, they're going to probably get that O-line, get a lot more O-linemen because this is an O-lineman deep draft. Hey, Caleb Williams, he's set up for success. I'm glad that Caleb Williams is set up for success. Hopefully he can put Chicago on the map. Looking forward to what he can do. Moving on, Jaden Daniels was selected second round for the second pick to the Washington Commanders. Obviously another no-brainer too. A lot of people had Michael Penix going second, or J.J. McCarthy, or maybe even Drake May. But, we'll get Drake May next. But Jaden Daniels, the right pick, Heisman Trophy winner, throws accurate football. His game reminds me a lot of Lamar Jackson, but he has a lot more accurate arm than Lamar Jackson did coming out of college. He's got potential to be very good. Future's bright for him. It's not good for me though, because I am a Cowboys fan, but it's good. It's good for him, and he's set up for success with new management things going on over there in Washington. The next pick that everybody knows I'm about to grab about is Mr. Drake May. He was selected third overall to the New England Patriots. Guys, I'm gonna just tell you right now, this guy's gonna be bust. I'm sorry. I mean, I watched Carolina football. I didn't really watch 2 years ago, but this past season I watched a lot of Carolina football. He wasn't so hot. Let me just put it. Let's just put it like that. He wasn't so hot. He was very underwhelming, especially towards the end of the season. So a lot of draft analysts said his stock went down, but give him the benefit of the doubt. He's in a good situation. New head coach up there in New England. Hopefully they can get this man some weapons because they have no wide receivers from what I can think of at the moment. I think they did re-sign Kevin Bourne. He's really solid, but he's not really a prototypical number one wide receiver. He needs some help. He's going to need some help. I know they lost Mike Gesicki. They still have Hunter Henry, but I don't see success in New England next season. Obviously, there's a lot more draft left to go. I'd like to see them try and pick up one of these wide receivers because this is a wide receiver heavy draft. But again, I think this guy's going to be a bust. Drake May. I don't wish that upon anybody, but that is what it is. Next, we got Maserati Marv going to the Arizona Cardinals. Not much to say about that. Kyler Murray in the peak. Got Kyler Murray the quarterback. Got a franchise wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. He was easily. I don't know why people think Malik Neighbors was even close to the stratosphere as him, but he's the easy bona fide best wide receiver in the draft. Future's bright for Marvin Harrison. Hopefully, he can recapture some of that Larry Fitzgerald injury back in the desert. Next pick. This was a shocker for me. The Los Angeles Chargers picking Joe Alt. A lot of draft analysts have Malik Neighbors going here wide receiver because the Chargers have no wide receivers at the moment. You got Quentin Johnson. They did draft last season, but he was very underwhelming this past season. They do have Josh Palmer, but they lost to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the offseason. Josh Palmer's great. He's cool, but he's not that guy at that position. Obviously, I did Quentin Johnson. He is your ex receiver. Big guy, tall, lanky. I mean, maybe he could turn around. But, hey, I can't argue with his pick because in Jim Harbaugh we trust, baby. Hey, I mean, I'm sorry. Jim's the man. He knows how to win. He knows the winning coach. He knows how to win ball games. I questioned the pick at first, but no, I have good faith in this pick. Joe Alt was easily the best offensive lineman in the draft. Good pickup. Next, we're going to talk about the New York Giants picking Malik Neighbors. A lot of people like to see J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix go off the board at quarterback here since Daniel Jones' future is very, very dwindling up there in New York. I would say this you couldn't go wrong with this pick because the Giants have not had a 1,000-yard receiver in like last 5 years. I don't think the New York Giants has had a 1,000-yard receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, so he was their last 1,000-yard receiver, OBJ, and OBJ has not been there in almost 7 years. So a lot of people love this Malik Neighbors guy. I'm a huge fan of him. You can put him anywhere, line him up on the outside, line him up in the slot. Easily one of the best pass catchers. He reminds you a lot of Jamar Chase. You can put him anywhere. And he's from LSU, and he had the receiving and touchdowns record at LSU when you think about the people that were there, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons of the world, Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, the guy's a stud, and I know he's going to turn out great for the Giants, but the quarterback's got to give him the ball at the end of the day. Don't have much faith in that one. But, like I said, got a lot of work to do with that one. Next, Tennessee Titans, J.C. Latham. Not much to say here. They were going to go offensive tackle either way, but Joe Alt got drafted first by the Chargers, which I know they were probably disappointed, but they got an offensive line, J.C. Latham, Alabama tackle. Good pick. And here's where it gets tricky. So I was watching the draft, as you know. I wanted to live stream it, but I still need to figure some of that stuff out. So maybe in the future we can get to this draft stuff. But this pick made no sense. Well, what I'm referring to, Michael Penix was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons with the number 8 pick in NFL draft. You just paid Kirk Cousins $100 million. Why would you spend a pick on a guy who's already 24 years old? Cousins' contract's 4 years. Are you telling Kirk Cousins that he's not gonna be a starter but for 1 or 2 years, and you want to get off the contract? That's what I'm thinking. This pick made no sense. I don't understand, and I heard Kirk Cousins' camp was shot by the pick. Rightfully so, but this pick made no sense. I was shocked. I had to re-scroll my Twitter to make sure this was actually the pick that they took. Because they needed, a lot of people had them getting Dallas Turner, edge rush from Alabama, and everybody, and mostly everyone's mock draft for the low 2 guy from UCLA. But this pick here was confusing, very confusing. I don't understand. I don't know the situation where Michael Penix plays. I know they're trying to redo the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love formula. Maybe this can be it. Kirk Cousins can teach him a few things, but man, does this pick not make sense for a guy who's already so old? 6 years in college, he's already 24 years old, and in 4 years he's going to be 28, and hypothetically couldn't be started as an NFL pro when he led his team to the national championship game and Heisman Trophy finalist. I imagine there's not a lot of happy Falcons fans out there, but new management, Raheem Mostert at head coach. I don't know. There was a troubling thing going on Twitter with Arthur Blank and the GM talking yesterday after that pick. I don't know. We're going to be looking at the news for that in the future. Next, we have Romeo Duzay going to Chicago. I already talked about that. Minnesota traded up one more slot in front of the Jets to pick up J.J. McCarthy. I love this pick for Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell is an offensive guru. He did work with he did come from Sean McVay's coaching tree. You obviously know Sean McVay's offense rolls out there in the West Coast. It's a great pickup for J.J. McCarthy. Great weapons. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Picked up Aaron Jones. Decent, solid offensive line. T.J. Hawkinson at tight end. Even though he is coming off he did blow his knee out, but he'll be back mid-season, hopefully. And he's set up for success. I imagine they're going to put him in a great position. I'm 100% sure he'll probably be a day one starter. I'm pretty sure they're not going to try and give Sam Darnold a start. We've seen enough of Sam Darnold. We already know what Sam Darnold's going to be. His ceiling's high. Kid throws a great football. He's accurate in the numbers. I've seen him make some big plays. The indictment on him is that he played for Michigan, but like I said, Jim Harbaugh was heavy run game oriented, heavy offensive line. And hopefully he'll translate that to the league. Probably run a lot more play action and get because he's got a deep offense. and he's set up for success down there. And hopefully J.J. McCarthy. I think J.J. McCarthy ended up being better than Drake May, but that's just my next, we got New York Jets. They went tackle Olu Fashanu. This was expected. A lot of people thought they were going to get Brock Bowers, but I said in order for Aaron Rodgers to want to play at least 2 or 3 more years, they need a lineman bad. So that was a no-brainer pick there for me. Denver Broncos picked up Bo Nix, quarterback from Oregon. Obviously, we saw this coming. They just traded for Zach Wilson last week. The Broncos had Jerry Stidham and Zach Wilson as their quarterback, so this pick for the Broncos was a no-brainer. They had to get their pick. Sean Payton, he's a quarterback mastermind. He's the reason why Drew Brees is going to be in the Hall of Fame in a couple years. So hopefully Bo Nix needs this. He is already 24 years old. He's already really old. So he's already ready to get in there. So he's definitely going to be a week 1 starter for sure. So happy to see Denver's got a quarterback, especially in the division with Pat Mahomes. Yeah, they need that bad. And Justin Herbert with Jim Harbaugh over there. Yeah. And that brings me to the next team, the Raiders. They needed a quarterback. They didn't get one. Obviously, all the quarterbacks have been took. There were 6 quarterbacks took in the first 12 picks. That's all you need to know right there. The Raiders selected Brock Bowers. Good pick. I was shocked they kind of went tight end. They did get the Meyer kid from Notre Dame last year. I thought he did pretty solid. They obviously lost Darren Waller a couple years ago. Not a bad pick. They don't really need another wide receiver. They got Tay. They definitely don't need a running back. Well, I wouldn't say definitely don't need a running back, but I like Zamir White and I like Abdullah coming out of the backfield. They just really needed I would love to see them probably go defensive back, or maybe they're going to have to address the quarterback situation. They do not have Aiden O'Connell is not the answer for you. I know Penix was on their board, and definitely Jaden Daniels if he did slip, but their best chance was to be able to trade up in the draft, but they had no assets because they gave up all their assets for Devontae Adams. So sucks for Raiders fans in that division with Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert, and mainly the potential that Bo Nix can be under Sean Payton. Future's not bright, Raiders fans. I hate to break it for you. Next, Saints picked Fuaga, offensive tackle. Ramchek's about to retire. I heard from good pickup for Derek Carr, offensive tackle help. Don't mind it. Next, we got the Indianapolis Colts. Latu, defensive end, UCLA. To me, I like this guy. From what I've seen on film, a lot. Mel Kiper and the guys had him as the best defensive end in the draft outside of Dallas Turner, but I heard he was medically inclined by his doctors and trainers to retire back in 2022 after having neck surgeries. That is a big risk to take in Indy, knowing that guy with that injury history in the NFL, knowing my Dallas Cowboys just lost Leighton Randers Race to retire because of neck injuries, and Luke Kuechly. It's a big risk, but the guy's very, very talented. Easily the best top two pass rusher in this draft. So we can't be mad with the Colts by that pick. Good pick for the Colts. Hopefully the guy can stay healthy. Next we got the Seattle Seahawks. Byron Murphy, the second defensive tackle. Seattle's really set on offense. They could use an offensive tackle. I'm pretty sure they'll do that in the late rounds, but get you some help on the D line. I imagine they might address edge rusher soon, but good pickup for the Seattle Seahawks. Next, Minnesota Vikings traded up to get Dallas Turner, the best offensive edge rusher, one of the best edge rushers in the draft, as we were talking about earlier. They did lose Daniel Hunter in the offseason, so Minnesota had a good A+ night, in my opinion, picking up J.J. McCarthy and getting an edge rusher to replace Daniel Hunter, even though he's not beefy like Daniel Hunter was. But anyways, he's going to play off the edge, going to be an edge rusher, setting him up for success there. Good pickup by the Vikings, and got good things cooking up there in the NFC North. Next, we got Cincinnati Bengals. Amarius Mims, offensive tackle. Again, Joe Burrow needs a tackle. They need to get offensive line as much as they can after Joe Burrow's injury history. Next, the Los Angeles Rams. Got the Jared Verse. Again, top 3 defensive end coming out of this draft. The guy he had 0 stars coming into college. He played at a small university, ended up transferring to FSU, and ended up being a first-round draft pick. Great story, great player. LA definitely is going to need some pass rushing after losing Aaron Donald to retirement. So this is a great this was a great pickup for them. Next pick, we got another offensive tackle by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Great pickup because the Steelers don't really need anything, especially not defensively. Offensive wise, all they need, it's just been always offensive line for the Steelers. Went offensive tackle here, good pickup. Next, we got the Miami Dolphins. They got defensive end Chuck Robinson from Penn State. They did lose Jordan Phillips to an Achilles injury more than likely, so this pick here don't surprise me. They don't need nothing on offense. Offensive lines had one of the best offensive line in the league. Definitely don't need wide receivers. Defensively, I imagine they could use another corner, could use linebackers and safeties. So I imagine this draft they'll do a heavy on the defense, and they started off with getting a defensive end to replace Jordan Phillips from injury. Next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. They drafted arguably one of the best cornerbacks, the fastest cornerback in the draft, Quinyon Mitchell. He didn't play at a big university, played at Toledo. But the Eagles is going to Eagle. They always get good players in the draft. The past couple of years, Howard Roseman's just been doing his thing in the draft. I can't hate. I really can't hate. The Eagles they're just eagling. I mean, they're better at managing up than we are. My team just sucks at managing. There's no other way to put it. They need this help, especially with Big Play Slay getting really old, and we already know what I think of James Bradbury. He sucks. But definitely need DB help. Obvious pick for them. They got the fastest cornerback in the draft. Next pick, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars traded back to get Brian Thomas, wide receiver from LSU. He was on the opposite side of the league neighbors. These two guys crushed it in LSU. I think they said he had 1,200 receiving yards. He led college in touchdowns. He had 17 touchdowns. I did hear that last night. Again, good pickup for Trevor Lawrence. They did lose Calvin Ridley. They get young. This guy is a young cat. He's great. He's fast. He's just a little. I heard that he has a problem getting jammed off the line really bad. He doesn't have great route running. Then got to go release. But something he can work on in the pros and gets Trevor Lawrence another much needed weapon because they need to turn Trevor. They need to get back to the playoffs and be a problem, especially with the Houston Texans coming up and rising their division. With C.J. Stroud and the boys getting ready to pack up. They're going to need all the firepower they're going to get to compete with Houston. Because it's looking scary down there in Houston. The Detroit Lions traded up, and my Dallas Cowboys traded back with them, and they picked up Terrion Arnold, cornerback from Alabama. They definitely needed cornerback help, especially with what happened with Cam Sutton getting arrested not too long ago. Obvious pickup for them. They obviously came up and traded up in the draft to get this guy. I think they feared Jordan that the Green Bay Packers were going to get him. But nonetheless, they got their guy. Great pickup for the Detroit Lions on an already great team that's on the rise. Green Bay Packers went offensive lineman. The Packers really don't need anything, in my opinion. The Packers is pretty much set, especially offensively with their young wide receiver core. They did lose David Bakhtiari, so get this offensive tackle was obviously a no-brainer. Tampa Bay pick was next. They got Graham Barton from Duke. This guy was arguably the best center in this draft. A lot of people in Dallas wanted to get him. I'm pretty sure Dallas, when they traded back, they were hoping that his pick would still be here, but it evidently wasn't there. Graham Barton goes to Tampa Bay, and I know Ryan Jensen did retire, their old center, so getting this guy did just short their center spot. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a future Pro Bowler in the future. He's a stud. He's very versatile. You can put him anywhere, but he is going to be a center in the big leagues. Great pickup by the Bucks. Arizona Cardinals got Darius Robinson, defensive end. Surefire that defensive end spot. Don't really know much about the guy or nothing about what the Cardinals really got going on. Anyways, this was a big shock for me too. Buffalo had the 28th pick in this draft, and they let the Chiefs trade up and get a wide receiver. And they got the fastest wide receiver in Combine history. If you are the Bills and you say you're wanting to compete with the Chiefs, why are you allowing another team, the team you can't even beat in the playoffs when it counts, to do that and get a player of this caliber? Let Pat Mahomes get a hand on a player of this caliber. It makes no sense from Buffalo. I imagine Buffalo Bills fans are not pleased with that. That's just insane. I never understood this when I saw it, that when it happened. Man, Buffalo does have the first pick of the night's draft. I imagine that I imagine they'll probably pick Edion Mitchell, but man, was that a shocker by allowing the Chiefs to trade up with him and get a wide receiver. That just blew my mind. My Dallas Cowboys drafted Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle from Oklahoma. We were going to go O-line. I know a lot of people saying quarterback if Michael Penix was available. That was never going to happen. We traded back, got an extra third-round pick. Tyler Guyton was our pick, offensive tackle. I imagine hopefully they'll put him at left tackle. I don't want them to move Tyler Smith to tackle and then put this guy at right tackle, because we already have Terrence Steele at right tackle, even though he's had a couple down years because he is coming off that terrible ACL injury. But I want this guy to be at left tackle. Again, we are offensive lineman guru historically, so I imagine he's going to come in and pay dividends. Next, the Baltimore Ravens picked Nate Wiggins, cornerback. Baltimore's going to Baltimore. They stay against studs. I imagine he's going to be great. Moving on to the late round shockers. San Francisco drafted Ricky Parasol, wide receiver from Florida. Now, this guy was a stud. I was hoping this guy was going to fall in the second round, and hopefully Dallas could pick him up. But this guy was available. And this puts into question about the rumors of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel to get traded. I'll say Brandon Ayuk's been wanting his money, and he's been on some cryptic rants, this, and that. But this literally just surefied that somebody's getting traded. I just saw reports last night came out by San Francisco beat writer talking about Deebo is more likely the option than Brandon Ayuk. I don't understand why. Deebo's got 3 years left on his contract, and he's only getting paid $23 million in a year compared to the $30+ million that the wide receiver market is getting to. That makes no sense to me. But hey, I imagine. I don't see a scenario where they trade Deebo. I really don't. I really think Brandon Ayuk's that guy that might get traded. Especially Brandon Ayuk, him being the guy that you got to pay. Why would you trade the guy that you already paid and trade the guy that you got to pay? It makes no sense for me from a business decision, because this guy, he's a stud. He's a smaller guy, but he's made some plays down there in Florida. We all saw the clip of him getting that one-handed catch and then dunking on it. Yeah, this guy makes that type of plays. But there's some change coming to San Francisco soon, and I'll talk about that when that happens. And finally, the Carolina Panthers traded into the first round. They did have the first pick of the second round. They traded up and got their guy, Xavier Leggett. We've heard the rumors and the stuff about Carolina being in love with this kid. He's local. He's from the Carolinas. He is big. He's got that DK Metcalf type energy. He's a big receiver. Panthers need it bad. Hopefully he can help Bryce Young and the guys, but the Panthers need O-lineman bad. Obviously, I knew they were going to go wide receiver for sure. Defensively, they'll be fine. Carolina's always been fine defensively, but I hope this is he turns it around for Carolina. 6'1", 220, big receiver. But they do need some O-line really bad. So that's a quick run through of the draft. But if you did enjoy this little quick run through, I know this video is really long, but I'm dropping this on the fly. I didn't really get a chance to hit on the picks I really want to talk about, but I'm just going off my reaction, what I thought about last night watching the draft. If you will, leave a like, subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you for all the continued support and support my journey and my future. Peace, love, and positivity always, baby. See you.